Oh, it's gonna ask me for the language. We could play in a couple different languages. Yeah, I mean we could play in English, Spanish, French, German, Italian. No Portuguese, interestingly enough. I would think that would be a pretty big market because that's a large swath of South America. But hey, Nintendo knows what they're doing, air quotes. So we will let them off on that one. And a couple of different languages from Asia. I know that one's Korean. Chinese Simplified and Chinese Traditional are in here, as well as Japanese, and there's one other that I'm not completely sure of, but we're playing it in English, obviously. All right, so which of these goofballs looks the most like us? And the answer to that is realistically none of them, but let's be this one. Why not? God, I actually have forgotten that the opening sequence of this game is like this. It is so, like, spare. This feels unfinished. We talk about Gen 9 and how that doesn't feel like a very finished game. But that's going to be us. Oh yeah, I should probably quiet the game a little bit on my end so that way I'm not screaming over everything. Hey, there's Supreme Executive Chairman Rose, or whatever his name is. And his slightly funny looking facial hair. Instead of giving us a professor to start with, they're showing us a guy from a corporation who is not even like in charge of the league or anything as a, you know, anything like that. He's just a sponsor. This is it, the sports universe. Yeah, hey, look, it's not Phanpy. The forehead bump on Qfant does kind of look a little bit gross. Like, the rest of it is quite good, but it just has this gigantic zit on its forehead. Like, what? Did Dan Schneider do writing? Oh. Sorry. I haven't watched any of those, like, Quentin Reviews videos in eons. Which I'm quite glad for, because they're quite long and a little long-winded. So hey, thank you for the 100 bits.
Phillips H. Screwdriver, Bahumat, Vandal Ravage, Drahoma, Professor Cockfield. You may be able to see a partial theme here.
Bahamut. That is a joke that also appeared in Super Mario RPG. Ooh, have a look at this guy. He never knows where he is at any time, does he? Oh, I missed it. Yeah, Leon, and there's Raihan over there with his weird metal tooth creature. Hey, check it out. Your Pokemon can read a Repulsa, make my monster grow in this game. Yes, indeed. This is fully in the era of Pokemon being super duper about the generational gimmicks. As far as like the quality of this one goes, Dynamax is not horrible. I'd say not my favorite, but most of them are kind of not my favorite anyway. And things have gotten a little bit funky, in particular with that weird tooth dragon that we saw there that Raihan had, called Duraludon, because it has since gotten an evolution in Gen 9 called Arcaludon, which makes it one of the, like, 4, I think, not fully evolved Pokemon that has a Gigantamax form, which is a thing that we'll get a little bit more into later on. But that Charizard was a Gigantamax, as you could tell, it changed shape when it got bigger. The others are Meowth, Pikachu, and Eevee, I believe, all have Gigantamax forms. Meowth, of course, is the famous Longcat one. And yes, this actually does look better than Scavy. There's a lot about Scarlet Violet that really just looks like... It kind of almost looks like an asset flip grade kind of thing. A lot of the interface in Scarvio is pretty bad. You forgot about Longcat Meowth. Oh, how could you? I guess you were probably too busy thinking about Dirtball Galar Meowth, which Galar Meowth is pretty good. So I can't actually blame you that much. But yeah, Scarvio is pretty shit looking. This game looks a lot cleaner. Things are definitely looking a little bit less jagged. This looks at least like GameCube quality, dude. There's a lot of parts of SV that are not even N64 grade, I feel. Like, these textures aren't necessarily amazing, but you've seen some of the things that I've shown you when we were doing, like, that sandwich stuff in SV, and you saw that looked like just the smallest... I thought that the texture size in stuff like Super Mario 64 was smaller than a Nant's dick, but that, ooh boy. Oh hey, got a Munchlax who's just sort of chilling. I don't know if that's a Pokemon I would want as a pet. That probably eats a lot. Guy, can you imagine you have a bigger cat food bill than a human food bill each month? Yeah, it's true. Dust Cat just kind of turns into a regular cat. A larger regular cat, rather. The garbage disposal? I mean, I guess so, but also, like, that sounds mean. I don't know. Pokemon don't seem to mind, like, anything, really. Oh, hey, yes, we're learning how to use the menu, but also, we're carrying around our mom's purse. Aw, that Eevee plushie looks cute. Pretty big head on it. Sitting by the telly. Oh, yes, that's right. Brand new telly, your mom. We're in Pokemon England. Don't go too far north or you'll just encounter a bunch of dudes with big fucking broadswords. Well, we didn't get to see any food, so we can't make any... Oh, right. Paldea is the region that has anything to do with food, right? Because that's the main thing about Spain, is the food, right? I gotta admit, it's better than some options you could probably do, I'm sure. But, anyhow. The bag looks like it can pull you over. It's a pretty big bag. I think we could probably store, like, an entire ourselves in there. I don't know, the Wooloo seems to be rolling around at a fairly normal speed, really. There's scary Pokemon living in the slumbering weald. Weld? I'm not really familiar with that particular word, just because it's not like one you see in American English very much. Like, okay, yeah, they'll call it the Slumbering Weld because it's in England, but, I mean, if this was somewhere in America, they'd call it, like, the Scary Fucking Forest! Fog and trees, oh, fuck! Oh, this one just makes, like, a regular, just sheep noise. Wooloo is pretty cute, and unfortunately, I'm probably going to be... I'm so Gen 9 pilled that I'm probably going to be, like, checking the signs, looking for gimme ghouls or something. Like a complete idiot. Oh, yeah, this guy wants to tell us about the power of science. Yes. That's right, it can let us do Pokemon things. Sounds like Weald, okay. So, the Slumbering Weald, there we go. That's, I think that kind of makes it sound a little bit more like a British thing, too. Like, it sounds a little bit more pretentious. The Slumbering Weald. Not to be rude about it, but, you know. Anyway, can we go check Hop's house? You got any items? Like, can I steal your potions or something? Yeah, Hop is a very, very energetic rival. Like, even by the standards of the high-energy rival, I think maybe only Barry is more over the top than him. However, he does kind of have very much the animations of Hau, if I recall correctly. Hau being the guy from the Gen 7 games, which eventually I will play once I go find Citra and see if I get it working. That's a good question, Mega Man. Maybe Hop is a nickname, maybe it's not. We don't know for sure. Hey, is his name like Hoplite or something? No, all we know is that he's called Hop. But I digress. Yes, so Hop does kind of end up feeling a little bit like a low-budget version of the previous rival at times, which is a bit of a shame. But I suppose they can only do so many variants on a character type, and it's the 8th generation, so is it Hop like the booze leaf? I mean, that would explain a lot, because they do indeed love their ale in England, and most parts of Europe, to be fair, so. But of course, that's also partially because in Europe, there is definitely a very strong history of like, oh, it's extremely not safe to drink water. So we're going to drink alcohol because it's like, well, it's not necessarily healthier for you, but it's probably less likely to make you get dysentery, right? Here's a fun fact, by the way. Speaking of alcohol and various places in Europe, I'm sure this is like not that interesting in the greater scheme, but also, Leon does a JoJo pose, but I'll talk about that later. So, the amethyst is named for Greek words that came together to imply that it staved off drunkenness. And this is actually like a folk belief from that era that they thought that the amethyst would protect you from becoming inebriated from drinking alcohol. Obviously not necessarily so much in those words, because alcohol is not like exactly the term, but you know, well, at least then. But I'm stumbling all over my words again. I'm sorry. I'm distracted by Leon being out here. This absolutely clueless goofball and the goofy JoJo pose that he does. Apparently, it has been confirmed. I would probably want somebody to follow up on this and, like, drop a link in the chat or something. That, speaking of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, a Part 7 anime has been confirmed, I believe. Which I'm here for. I just hope they don't have the release methodology that they did for Part 6. Which, you know, kind of got boned a little bit by being just all released in blocks on Netflix. I mean, I'm not necessarily saying that it'll be good, but I at least want to see them try. I didn't think the JoJo anime was quite as dismal as you believed it to be, but to be fair, I also didn't even finish part 4, but that's because at the time, I had also been watching what at that point was something that was a couple years old called Izetta the Last Witch. And I sort of like went into like super doomer over anime as a medium after that, of just like, oh. And I think this also was like right when Trump was elected for the first time. Yeah, this had to have been. Oh, geez. So it was just like a really shit time for that in general, and I haven't watched an anime in 8 years as a result. I don't know what the kids enjoy anymore. This is like Jujutsu Kaisen or whatever. Is that the thing? I saw somebody like a couple days ago posted on Blue Sky a piece of fan art of one of the characters from Jujutsu Kaisen as like a lion man, and I almost posted it at you, Tev, and said, wow, look at this person who has to lie about the fact that they drew a Johnny Goldmane in order to get any sort of attention on their fan art. As like this gag, because I think we all kind of know that, like, you certainly know at least that for me, a Johnny Goldmane is like one of the last remaining pieces of any big reason for me to be all that into magic lore. I'm glad that he's like not dead, that he got rescued. Unfortunately, there's like no fucking way they're gonna use him ever again for a while, is there? Johnny Goldmane. Johnny Goldmane Gat. There we go. Anyway, yeah, so unfortunately, I have a feeling that a Johnny Cat is going to be not used in the plot for a while, and also I'm still kind of pissed off about the fact that they truly did kind of invalidate that whole really painful emotional arc that was associated with him getting rescued in at the end of the Phyrexia arc, because there was like this whole thing about that and Koth having like this certain sense of jealousy, like his world had been completely ignored in favor of this guy and stuff like that. And it really was like, oh, that's rough, dude. It was quite sad. And then they just sort of had Jace get cured of his also getting hijacked the same way a Johnny had, due to a lot of off-screen horse shit. And yeah, I still keep up with Magic despite the fact that I haven't purchased a card from WotC in 4 years-ish. 5 years, actually, pardon me. And I haven't played a game in that long. Not counting the times when I've played the video game on stream. Those don't count. But I still keep up with it on that level, and like just to get annoyed, I guess, really. Anyway. So, yeah, okay. Here's our starter choice. I'm sorry, I got sidetracked. These starters, I think, are all pretty good. At least at the outset. And their final forms are halfway decent as well. But I think they've, like, kind of really nailed a lot of the cute factor with these three Dorcases. I mean, yes, in the overall, compared to, like, all Pokemon, you can kind of go, I'd rather choose something else. But I think when it comes to the starters, I think that there are specific design requirements and like objectives that you want. And in particular, I think that a large part of it is like make them very appealing to the child target demographic that you're after, and I think that these three all kind of nail a certain level of that neoteny. I mean, yes, Grookey also has the horrible, awkward teenage years of Thwacky, which are quite unfortunate, but Scorbunny has that going on too. And with what's it called? Raboot is its mid-stage. And Sobble's middle stage too is also kind of like meh. But their final stages are all pretty decent, all considered. I mean, yeah, Cinderace is like the furry option out of all of them. Cinderace is the Gardevoir of this generation, if that makes any sense. That sounds terrible, and I probably should be, choosing like Lucario or something. But Drumsman Gorilla, whose name I've forgotten, Donkey Kong, is pretty alright. Rillaboom, thank you, yes. I think I saved it there. I like called him Donkey Kong once. I think Rillaboom is okay. Gigantamax Rillaboom is just clown shoes, though, although that's kind of true of all of these ones. Most of the Gigantamax forms are pretty goofy. But yes, Sobble is definitely going to be the one that we go with. Sobble does eventually evolve into Gex, so like I have to give that some credit, right? Would I like to give Sobble a nickname? You know what? Sure, I'll nickname this Goofus. I feel like calling him Gex is a little bit mean, though. Does anybody wish to assist? The first time I played through this game, I called Sobble Iroquois. Sorry. Alan? For fuck's sakes, Alan. Of course you would. God damn it. Tav, were you going to say Gex? Say Gex? Do you get it, guys? Say Gex. It's like, oh. Pliskin, yes. I did originally call him Iroquois because I thought that he looked a lot more snake-like, but... I mean... Pliskin, I could do that to maintain the theme. He does also have, like, slight James Bond vibes a little bit, I think. Which... I think that's kind of cool. Who's your guys' favorite James Bond, I guess? Other than Sean Connery, obviously. Because, I mean, I could just call him Connery and that would be, like, super easy. I haven't watched a James Bond in a long time. God damn it. One of my friends, Lilith, she started watching some of the Roger Moore James Bond recently, and she was posting about it and being like, yeah, Moonraker is better than people, and, you know, better than people say it is, and hoping that that remained a running theme. Unfortunately, she did also remind me that one of those movies was called Octopussy, so that was, I unfortunately now, I just think about that whenever I think of James Bond, and I'm just like, oh shit, they really did that, didn't they? Roger Moore was the one with the gondola chase, I believe so, yes, that's from fucking Moonraker, I'm pretty sure. Oh man, oh, hold on, now I need to go look. Oh boy. Yeah, it's from Moonraker. Holy shit. You know what? Yeah, that's it. That's it. We're calling this guy Roger. Actually, I think I gotta go all the way and call him Roger Moore so that way I don't, like, confuse it. Moonraker. Oh, God. What if I just did a whole James Bond theming to the entire party? I'm I'm glad this is off to a good start. And by a good start, I mean, like, I've probably been streaming for 20 minutes. I can't believe... Wow, okay. And meanwhile, Grookey is like, I've been left out. And yeah, Hop, of course, is a big eater, which I guess goes with where does he get all that energy from, right? Yeah, they did that too, which is great because this is an era where they really were playing up a lot of the extent to which these are like personal. They've sort of drifted away a little bit from how it was in the first few generations, where it was like this sterile, you go down to a laboratory, a local Pokemon professor signs you up for the league, you get your starter Pokemon. Like, okay, you go over there, you pick up Squirtle. Charmander is going to be sitting on that desk for the entire game, it's true, but also there is no reason to... You do have reason to believe, at least, I guess would be the other way to approach it, the correct way to approach it, that that'll probably get picked up by another trainer somewhere down the line. And that's sort of what the starter Pokemon are. And yes, but here they are like very specific personal dudes in a way, and we're getting them from Leon as opposed to picking them up in a laboratory. So it's, you know, good on them for having that third Pokemon get to do something. And yeah, Hop didn't choose a Pokemon that will just absolutely murder us, which is great because we immediately get into a fight, and you will notice something that is new about starter Pokemon as of like Gen 7, I think. Once we get into the battle. And I'm not just talking about him flexing his working right shoulder, or the fact that he's already got a second Pokemon. What a guy. But oh, okay, so not yet, I guess. I was wrong. I thought that you started out with a move of a type that matches your Pokemon. Because that is the case in Gen 7, and I believe in Gen 9 as well. That at level 1, they get, like, Water Gun and stuff of that nature. Maybe we grab it at level 6. Yeah, there's our Water Gun. So that helps balance things out. And yeah, as I was sort of alluding to earlier, I injured my shoulder recently. Like, when I was asleep between Saturday and Sunday, and it kind of hurts to move it too far, but thankfully I don't really need to do too much of that with streaming a video game. It's not like last week where I basically took off the whole week because I had some sort of stomach complaint and was like, oh, if I have to get up in the middle of the stream because I'm going to vomit, that's not going to be a great time. Yes, I'm sure these are subjects nobody wants to hear about, but it's too late. Anyway. Easy Pokemon battle. Well, I guess they sure do give us a bit of a leg up there, and yeah. I know, Leon, I think that'd be a little bit heavy-hitting for us to start with. Chucking Charizard into things. Ooh. Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. So this is something that probably won't carry over when I post it to YouTube, but I have the title of my stream is something like, you see that Onyx? I'm Delia, welcome to Jackass, because there's a rather infamous wild Onyx that's level like 20 something out in the wild area when you have like level 12-ish Pokemon. And believe you me, I'm going to try to kill that thing as early on in the game as they'll let me. I remember people being absolutely furious about this Onyx because it is quite a lot stronger than the rest of what you see at that point. And personally, I think it is quite funny. My opinion on it, as I said this to Alan in one of his streams actual years ago, because I remember this because I think I saw a rewatch of that VOD recently where I said something like, I don't think I should be able to kill it because I should be allowed to kill everything with impunity in a Pokemon game. I think I should be allowed to kill it because it's Onyx, and Onyx is kind of a wuss. If you can exploit Onyx's massive glaring weakness, it tends to explode. I wasn't paying attention to his dialogue. I was too busy talking about Onyx. Like, I look at my level 7 Sobble with Water Gun, and I think about Brock's Onyx, and it's like, I could probably turn that thing into Onyx paste pretty easily. I'd get pretty beat up for it because Onyx is not a slow Pokemon. Not by its standards, anyway. Oh, hey, Squavit. Are there a lot of squirrels in the area of the world that this is based off of? There's a fair amount of squirrels out here in the Midwest. I'm not a big fan of how this one looks. I mean, it's all right, but there have been better first mammals. Like, I'll tell you this. It's no Diggersby. All right? Rookity, though, this is a pretty good bird. I mean, it does also evolve into a steel type, so, like, I suppose it has to be. Yeah, see, that's what I'm getting at. I don't even like Bunnelby that much, is like the pre-evolution. I mean, it's kind of cute, but it's sort of like there. Maybe part of it is knowing what's around the corner for it and just kind of going, oh, that's an unfortunate creature. I think it was some dude with a very funny haircut that we're not going to see for a long time, just kind of wooing in the middle of the forest for no good reason. I mean, Squavit could also be like Watchog, right? Watchog, a Pokemon where there was an idea, but it's like one of the worst playing Pokemon ever. And then you look at like the eyes and stuff, and it's just like, ooh. This is an acceptable Pokemon from the neck down. Because I kind of like the idea of its little like construction worker vest, but the rest of it, seems like a little bit of an issue. There's two eccentric roommates in the Weald. Yeah, I mean, I could absolutely believe it. It wouldn't be the silliest thing for there to be in a Pokemon game, especially not this one. Although saying that, let me tell you, when you folks see the guy I'm talking about, for anyone who doesn't know, Lord, that's an interesting cry. We have no idea what's going on with this thing. Let's try to water gun it, because I'm sure they won't let me run away. Ooh. It just sort of vanished that. Oh yeah, remember it was 3 question marks. Yeah, unfortunately, Sobble is going to have a bad time if this thing actually decides to attack us. I'm not sure yet. It's changing the fight background on us. What are we, against the final form of Lavos or something? Eesh. Yeah, me neither. At the very least, it was a slow flashbanging, so I gotta give a point there. How's it going, by the way, Round the Wheel? I saw you were streaming some more of the randomized Pokemon X seed. I had that on in the background for a little bit. And even when I was away from the computer, I had that window open. So that way, hopefully it would give you some view or something. It'd be good for your numbers. But, yeah, I hope you're doing well. Round the Wheel, by the way, has recently, because he and his school are on spring break, so he's been streaming again. He streamed a randomized seed of Pokemon X very recently. Up to... done a pretty good amount, right? I saw you were at the castle. But that was definitely a few hours before you cut stream. So I ended up doing some... Got to Geosench today. Nice. All right. There's no subtype on Galar starters. A dig at British blandness somehow. Maybe not intentionally, but it could be. Because the addition of subtypes to starters for the entire set of them has been a thing since Gen 6, I think. Yeah, because the Unova starters, there's only the firefighting for the big hog. And there's... Wait, no, there's subtypes for all the Gen 4 starters. Yeah, Charizard and Venusaur, but not Blastoise in Gen 1. Gen 2, they did not have any secondary types. Gen 3, you had Water Ground, and you had the first of many firefighting types. But yeah, Sceptile did not have one for some reason until they gave it a Mega Form where it turned Grass Dragon. But yeah, Gen 4, everybody had their double types. Gen 5 was only Emboar. And then Gen 6, 7, and 9, they have all gotten a secondary typing. But oddly enough, not in Gen 8. That's... huh. Pop, please. This kid is just excited about everything. Oh, huh. That's neat. Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Has been very unopposed to giving cards errata to rebalance them a little bit. The most mediocre rifle in maybe the entire series. Oh, that's... I'd say that's mean, but like, come to think of it, he does have a problem of not standing out a ton. Because he's kind of just a mishmash of a couple of existing ones already. Like... especially being very much Barry, How, and obsessed with Leon. Yeah, I mean, in that case, if Catapult Turtle is just a complete no-go, which it really seems to be. Bring back the old one for goofs. Pokemon Lab. We don't have any Pokeballs to start with, do we? Ooh, this is some pretty intense menu. Okay, we have 5 Pokeballs to start with. Nice. And we start with a fishing rod. That's helpful. We've got 2 DLC passes that we don't really want to deal with. Yes, absolutely. Leon is his big brother. So it's not like he's just some champion obsessed goofball. So your old rod kit. Oh my god, that's pretty intense. All right, so we got a couple of Pokemon out here just wandering around on the overworld. What was the shadow that we didn't see there? I'd like to find something a little more interesting than these. No, that might be a no-go. Caterpie, I mean, that's not a terrible option. 3D Send, did I remember to pick that up? No, but I'm sure the sale is still going, right? It's a seasonal sale. It's still... Oh, I got confused as I went to go look at Steam. Yeah, the sale is still going, so I can probably sneak that in sometime soon. I clicked over to Steam and I was on a page for a game that wasn't installed, so I saw the blue button instead of a green one. I was like, what the fuck is running? Till the 20th. That's less time than I thought, but I forgot when it started, so... Alright, let's grab this Caterpie. Anybody here got any ideas for what to nickname this thing? Because if it breaks out at that HP, I'm going to be very upset. Doing a first-time play that will make people's heads explode. Well, I've got to say that if people survived the fact that you only just played Chrono Trigger for the first time fairly recently, like, how off can it be? I'm sure that I'll get in there and I'll just be like, what the fuck? You really haven't played this? This sounds like something that would absolutely be up your alley. I don't know. Can we get something that's more than just a... I'll cry, will I? Oh. It's not Earthbound. You played that on your own time, right? You played Earthbound and you blogged about it before that one got deleted, right? Call it, we're Madam Baggins. How many letters are available? 12, I think? 12. Yeah, I didn't think it was Earthbound. I was going to be like... Because that feels like the one that would be the one specifically laser targeted at me, right? I think I've definitely made very clear that I'm kind of an Earthboundy freak. Sister Joey Jojo Jr. Butts free. Jeez. I mean, that's about the quality that Butterfree gets, even with it having a Gigantamax in this game, but I think I'm going with Joey Jojo Jr. Shabadoo. You say that'll fit, right? Yeah, because that's the exact number of letters. Yes. It's the worst name I ever... yeah, for this, it's like, hey, yeah, spaces are okay, and you're probably thinking, hey, what about that sandcastle that you bred? And here's the thing, that was years ago, so I was a little more opposed to them at the time, to not having them, rather. Because originally, my friend there, Epionyx, suggested that I nickname my shiny, oh god, castle Pokemon, sorry, Palisand, there we go. Oh goodness, it suggested that I nickname it Black Sandeth, and at the time I was very opposed to it, because even though it's a great idea, it's exactly 12 letters if you don't have the space in there, and that bothered me. Back then. Nowadays, though, I think I care a little bit less about that. Wooloo always reminds you simultaneously of King of the Hill and Age of Empires. That is completely fair. Age of Empires, I think, of course, you know, we all know about Wooloo, but King of the Hill. A good cut there, yeah. Rookidee, yes, Rookidee is a very high-grade little bird here. Age of the Hill to go with King of Empires. That seems silly. Discount Lucario. Oh, come on. It's not that Discount Lucario. It turns into a big steel bro. Better than any of the starters. That's fair. Sky Knives. Do I have to put it in all caps if I do that, Tav? Corvid Knight. Oh shit, you know what? You know what? Yeah, I think that's exactly the level of sense of humor that we need in this day and age. To be perfectly fair. I mean, it's a giant crow that murders people. It counts. Listen, all I'm saying is that the problems that Paldea has with these could be fixed if the government would just distribute a few more Tinkatons, right? And if Tinkaton had an actual attack stat to use that hammer move, but that's obviously for game balance reasons, because that thing hits harder than Hyper Beam by itself. Can I go in the Pokemon Center yet? Not yet, huh? Oh, Tinkaton is... I love Tinkaton, but it is like... Its attack stat is something like 75, I think, as a base, which means that all the competitive nerds will be like, oh, I can't use that, dude. But that Megaton Hammer, or whatever the attack was called, is pretty slick. Oh, hey, that's like a whole plot thing that could happen, Tab. Like, It's sad it replaced Mawile in everyone's hearts. Fair enough, I'm absolutely... That's fair. Mawile is a pretty good Pokemon that I remember from all the way back that I enjoyed in that era. And he's just wearing a cape everywhere you go, unironically. I mean, he's the champion. He's, like, entitled to do that. What kind of profession in the real world would you be allowed to just, like, wear a cape everywhere and nobody would ask? Probably being Rick Wakeman, and that's about it. Yes, his cape is covered in sponsorship emblems. That is true. So, yeah, I guess if you were wearing a cape covered in sponsor logos, and you were a professional race car driver, that'd probably... See, but now I'm just sitting here, like, imagining somebody, like, having an encounter with Dale Earnhardt Jr. or something and just being like, he was wearing a fucking cape. And then, like, everybody just has to hear about Dale Earnhardt Jr. in a fucking cape and just, like... I don't know how to process this anymore. It's not even real, and I don't know how to process it, man. Also, yeah, here we've got a lot of Rotom technology. They were just starting to make that a bit of a thing in the 7th generation. And now they're making it a very big to-do in Gen 8. Somewhat reduced in Gen 9, but still very extant, and like your phone does various odd things and is Rotom powered. But I've always kind of been a little bit like, is this going to eventually turn into Pokemon Skynet or something? And I'm surprised it has not yet. There was a customer at the game store who believed the ghost of Dale Earnhardt Sr. lived in her... What? That's wild. Oh, hey, this dude just walked up and gave us a potion. That's an incredibly thing that you really would not be able to do in the real world. It's all I can say about that. Like, ooh. People would think that's really creepy. That is such a strange thing to, like... Granted, I'm sure that there's quite a few people who are like, oh yeah, my house is haunted by very specific spirit that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I mean, I haven't owned a Pokemon before, so tell me about the tutorial. And hey, there's the PC, which is also Rotom powered. Although we can just access our boxes on the fly, I'm pretty sure. So, like, how much does that matter anymore, huh? Well, yeah, I think it's just the idea of, like, saying that you're haunted by the spirit of such and such. Like, imagine if it's someone who absolutely died very far away from where you live. Oh, yeah, there's a recommendations feature on the Pokedex and some other stuff like that. I forgot that was a thing. I don't think there's any mystery gifts for us to pick up anymore. Right. They're gone from Scarlet Violet, but that's because the Pokemon centers in Scarlet Violet are like gas stations, basically. Yeah, I may as well check. Let's see if there's any sort of get via internet, I guess. I'd be shocked if there was anything that they would be like, yeah, you can get this thing from when the game launched again. Sadly, no. Oh well. And yeah, let's take a look over at the Rotom machine here. Just because, you know, have a quick look at that. This, I don't remember what this area is. Oh, Name Raider and Move Reminder and Forgetter. All right. Was there a fee for move reminding in this game? Or is it like Gen 9 where it's just completely free, which, truth be told, is about what I feel like it should be. Can we go in here and buy a funny hat? It's probably a little outside our price range, but let's take a look. Oh, we can buy a hat. Or a glasses, if we want. That shop didn't have Pokeballs, so I'm kind of disappointed, but there might not be a lot for us to capture for a minute, so... eh. Oh. That's what I get for pressing the wrong button. Well. There we go. Oh yeah, that's true. We can do like serious character customization once we get a couple of towns in. The gym challenge. That sounds like it would be worth a doing. Ah, it's annual. I see. But yeah, you need to... in this world, you need some sort of sponsorship to be able to join the gym challenge because it's like pro sports, basically. And what that means is you need to be crazy enough for people to want to watch you. I wonder exactly how close we can get to being like an Alice Cooper kind of trainer. Nah, that's silly. Listen to me just saying shit. Yeah, it's a good point. There is already an Alice Cooper trainer, so my gimmick might be a little bit like not a thing that I can already do because it'll be stepping on somebody's toes. Do you think that there's room in this year's league for like a Doink the Clown? Can we get a whole group of us to just all sign up as being Doink the Clown? And we can just shift between being whoever's the active Doink? Yeah, the fashion customization has been going down since the 3DS era. It's still alright here. Like, I think it's still perfectly serviceable in Sword Shield. But, ooh boy, Gen 9. Ooh! Ugh! I hope at least they bring it back for Z to A. Cause that also takes place in Kalos. It would be slightly silly if not. Oh hey, and Nickit, I'll take this over the other guy. And by the other guy, I mean Squavit. Oh, see, shouldn't that be like more like a sand attack thing because Nickit's got the like rush on the floor tail? Yeah. Red. Red Fox. There you go. Yeah, this is a Pokemon that is only in Gen 8. There's quite a few that are not in Scarlet Violet. It's gonna sell you paintings. You were thinking of Animal Crossing. Well, okay, so I guess it's good that it is like multiple jokes because I straight up forgot about Red from Animal Crossing. I haven't played an Animal Crossing game in a while. I was thinking, you said Red, and I immediately thought Red Fox, the comedian, who I believe had some very vulgar bits, which also kind of fits this series in its own way. And by this series, I mean this stream series, not necessarily Pokemon. But anyway, we got ourselves another team member and me going into a funky accent. And I think this means that, like, There have been, I'd say, I think this means everybody's had a nickname, but I also, it's still kind of around the wheel heavy, actually. But here's a C-Dot, a C-Do if you're silly. Which, I mean, at this point, we all know that I'm kind of a goofball. By the way, guess who forgot to heal because it wasn't part of the... It didn't make me do it as part of the tutorial. I got sidetracked by everything else. I am a fucking clown is what I am. I think we won't be able to kill this with water gun because there was... Never mind, actually. Huh. Well, that was unexpected. Must be that our special attack is actually... Oh, God, yeah, actually, it really is that much higher than our regular attack. Never mind. Never see another C-Dot again. It's true, but... That's okay. I think there are better grass types in this generation. I don't know if we'll get to them anytime soon, but... You know, Shiftry is a real design. It takes a while to get there. And at least one leaf stone. Talk to the birthday lady and then lie. Whomst? The one outside the Pokemon Center? Oh yeah, hey you. Sure. What month I was born? They're really not making me, like, scroll through this? Well, listen, the run started today, so technically it is our birthday. Oh. Huh. No item. That's disappointing. The game knew what we were trying to do. Maybe, and then it'll be after our stated birthday. And I'll just be like, well, I'm shit out of luck. Well, we found ourselves another seed. I guess as long as this thing doesn't just only press absorb. Well, now that I've said that, oh boy. We should be able to chip the HP decently with it. Well, it recovered like nothing, so maybe pound will get us there. I have a feeling that bind chip damage will cause us problems. Oh, huh. Well, we got ourselves a Seed OT, a Seed Original Trainer. What should we name this thing? Nut. I mean, that would have to be in all lowercase, I think. Seed on topic. Heavy ball. We didn't catch it in a heavy ball. Wait a second. Disregard what I say. Acorn Kid 64. Unfortunately, I can't just put like a gif of Conker giggling or something. Actually, what are people's opinions of Conker's Bad Fur Day anymore? Do people still have... Well, I'm sure people still have, like, nostalgia for it. But... no. Just go full immature. No. Well, I'm thinking it might evolve so, like, it doesn't stay doesn't stay an acorn forever, unfortunately. So I'm like... Do I want to have it be like Tringu or something? I don't know. And like it evolves into the tree Tengu. Morningwood, God. That immediately reminded me. Oh, Jesus. Do you remember... Because we haven't played Terraria in freaking years. The tree, that tree boss from the, like, Pumpkin Moon or whatever it was called, which was called Morningwood, Mourning wood. Okay, good. I'm glad that I'm like not the only one who remembers that, but we're so now. Here, this way you get one in here too. Everybody's got a nickname in this party. It's a real democracy. Why this? Because I'm awful, that's why. I would ask you if you've watched any of this stream, but like, why would somebody watch any more than they have to of this horrible show? I mean... This extremely good stream. Subscribe to my stream. Not even once. I need to like... If I ever remember to make proper sub badges, I clearly need to make one for the end of your streak that just says like something. There's not a lot of space to put any real graphics there, but I don't even know if there'd be enough space for me to do like a full moth from caterpillar to pupa to moth in terms of the sub badges, which would fit some of the visual themes that I've been going for, but oh, look at this absolute goofball and a horrible sweater. How's our HPs? Do I feel like... 13 I think is probably still safe for us to deal with this probably rich kid. From moth to larger moth, yes. Oh no, I was thinking this was like the rich boy class because of how garish and blonde, but to be fair, he is just in a sweater. A sweater with a collar under it, so he's got a collared shirt on under his sweater. Oh, God. Oh, God. I just saw what was over there. Oh. Oh, I'm disgusted. Can't believe they introduced this Pokemon so early. Here it is, everybody. It's Choodle. This thing bothers me. It's pure water type, so I think. Yeah, it doesn't gain the rock type until it evolves. What a disappointing creature. Yeah, I was gonna say that won't quite kill us. It'll put us to 2 HP. So I'm not gonna use this, but I will catch it because it's easier than killing it. And then I can do something with it later. I have an idea. And that idea is going to involve it not staying on this cartridge, that's for sure. Squirtle. Apparently the itch of its the itch of, oh, itchy teeth. That's not a good feeling. That thinking about that doesn't sound fun. Shit, what's worse is I actually had a nickname for this thing earlier that I was thinking about. I was just like, well, tinfoil. No, I'm putting itchy teeth in capitals because you should just assume that if I was mentioning that. All right, now you can't enter that name. Okay. Apparently, I ran afoul of the. I'll nickname it later, I guess. And I'll find something incredibly stupid to call it. But apparently that ran afoul of the censors. It's alright, I didn't want to use this thing, so... Like, is it worried that because it's starting with itch, that it's like a little too close to me trying to say bitch in some way? Wow, hooray. Anyway, guess who's going to the back of the box? Because it's Choodle. Yeah, me too. I want that animation to play every single time. That would be fun. Oh, hey, look, there's another one. For some reason. It's replacing the Zigzagoon that was in that patch for a moment. I think Choodle genuinely is, like, one of my absolute least favorite Pokemon. And quite frankly, I don't know that I can completely tell you why. It's just, like... Whenever I look at it, part of my brain hurts a little bit in some way. But hey, look, Yamper! It's a small electric mammal. It's not quite a Pika clone, but hey. It looks like some sort of loaf. Its body is much more the shape of a loaf of bread than an average real-world dog, I'll say that. Obviously, it's not quite as much of a bread dog as, well, the actual bread dog, but... Can we get, like, a good 360-degree view of this thing before I nickname it? Because this thing is pretty adorable, but also... Oh. My ZR button serves as an A button. I almost called it the R2 button, which will tell you how much PlayStation I've PlayStationed. I guess we can name it Yeet Loaf. It's my own pronunciation is making me screw up how I spell words. Whoops. Borfk, borfk. Alright, what do you got for me, buddy? Did you get the... Yes, it has ball fetch. It will fetch the Pokeball from the first failed throw of battle. That is potentially quite handy, but I have a feeling that it's going to evolve before that would ever come up. Hey, it's a pretty high quality dog. Corvid-19, that's pretty good. Hooray, our Jojo Jr. evolved into Metapod. Hey! Joey Jojo! I wasn't even trying to do a half-decent Barney at that. I know I'm not good at voices, so I won't even push the... I won't even push it too much. Ah, yes, this random stranger has a Choodle. That's fantastic. Well, I guess at least they're kind of like, hey, yeah, here's multiple types of Pokemon to start with. It's not just bug catchers. Or Rattata. Unfortunately, your problem was trying to become the cute Pokemon trainer and choosing Choodle to start with. Here's Blitbug. This is the regional goofball bug. I'm not a big fan of Blitbug itself, and its name is quite boring. But it does evolve into Orbeetle, which I kind of like. There are definitely far worse of the, like, regional Goofus bugs that they introduce in every region. You know, it could be Wurmple's family, which is just, in general, kind of a not very good anything. At least I'm not a big fan of the Wurmples. They're just kind of like, hey, yeah, we already had those Pokemon. And they were designed an appropriate amount. Let's see if we can fish something up, just because why not? I mean, I can't fish from my bag. What? Ooh. Alright, favorites. How do I use my favorite items? Or am I just not allowed to use that at all yet? Oh, okay, I gotta actually point at the shadowy spot. I see. Oh, hey, look, there it is, a Magikarp. The original champion of something, alright. Now, I've got to catch a Magikarp. Even if I don't use it, which, again, I'm not really sure that I will. I've got a lot of water types already. With a starter and a Choodle and this thing. I try not to use too many of one type if I'm able to, so... Is gunking your move pool? Oh, I see. Take growth over harden. It's virtually worthless in terms of both power and speed. Same TBH. But this Pokedex is rude as hell. What? Anybody got an idea as to what we should name this Magikarp? JD, don't let it evolve. You know what? Fair enough. Scam. Actually, scam is funnier. No, okay, fine. Be nice to... That's right. What do we think we are? The Pokedex here? Eesh. Send to a box. It doesn't tell us what box, but I'm sure Magikarp is in a box somewhere. Oh. Well, I can rename it. See, the problem is that I just realized that you said JD, and I realize now what your bit actually is here. I realize that I think about JD Vance so little that I often forget that that's like his actual name. I thought it was just like JD is just like a abbreviation that could be anything JD. Like it could be a Jim Doss? I don't know. We're going with that for now. Yeah. Exactly. That's much closer to JD Vance's real name, is Jorkin the Peanuts. Personally, I gotta admit that I'm kind of sad that like couch fucker jokes have basically disappeared when it came to JD Vance bits. Like, I know that that's not real, but it was so funny. And quite frankly, it's one of those things where it's like, okay, I would believe that about some of these people, right? And that they would just write that down. But also, like, again, think about the state of Republican politicians. Think about fucking Kristi Noem and the dog that she had killed, right? That absolute piece of fucking work. So, JD Vance supposedly fucking his couch is like the... not even that weird or gross. But your dream was to have everyone in the Galar region become strong. Is there a specific reason why he's doing that? Is this like a Geeta situation where she's just like a Metal Gear villain, and it's like, oh, it's for the good of the region or something, or is he just like want to fight people? I mean, granted, Leon wears a cape everywhere he goes. Why are we asking questions about the guy, right? Alright. And so you're not going to say something silly to be like, hey, walk over on the other side of things. Let's do this. It's only been like 5 minutes, dude. Come on. Cool out. Hop. I forgot what his name was for a second there. Oh yeah, I've got plenty of levels in this Score Bunny. Like, wow. Hey, enjoy your luck, guy. Ooh, Water Pulse. I don't really need Growl that much. Truth be told, I don't particularly need Bind much either, but we'll probably sub that out next. It'll be a close one, looks at my whole party of 6 Pokemons. And he's on his last, and his battle appears to be arranged as being like downhill. So, yeah. Didn't even need to use my new move. Wow. That's mostly because I didn't decide to change. Yeah, after seeing you get your ass completely handed to you, Hop, I'm going to sponsor you to become... Get on the journey, kind of, yeah. Leon just likes seeing his kid brother get his ass kicked. Granted, I think that's kind of like a very much an older brother thing in general, isn't it? Like, hey, my other sibling got... Uh-oh. A UFO! No, it's some weird chunk of rock. 2 chunks of rock. Sure, why not? Well, now I think you need to... I think you gotta tell us about the whole story here. Oh, Hop has plenty of energy because he eats like... He eats a lot. I was trying to conclude that in an actual phrase, but not gonna happen. Just too not good at words this time. It was like this big dog thing. I like the bird on the top of Magnolia's cane. It was like 3 question marks. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he really is basically just kind of like Barry, except he's not running into us constantly. Catch the most Pokemon. I don't know about that. Because... we're not going to be catching that many Pokemon in the greater scheme of things, I don't think. Neat. Gain some experience. Let's go back to... What's the general direction of the train station? Ooh, this one's got some glowy energy on it. I don't know what that means for the encounter off... Oh, geez, I'm sorry. I don't know what that means for the encounter offhand. Let me take a sip here. God, I bet I saw it sounded awful there. Don't know what that means for the encounter itself offhand, but it does mean that we get some watts, I think they're called in this game, which are used as a special currency in certain areas. See, my immediate thought was to call them league points, but again, that's because I am very Gen 9 brain screwed right now because, yeah. Ah, boo. Higher level than average Pokemon in the area will come equipped with an unusual move. Huh. Well, that's interesting. I literally did not know that at all. And I feel like that's not explained anywhere in the game. Like, at all. Which, to be fair, Game Freak really doesn't explain everything in a lot of these games. But, you know, they thought the Spear Pillar was too complicated for kids back then, right? No, train station's further up. Whoops. No, it's further down. Pardon me. Whoops. My brain shut off. I'm not sure it was ever on to begin with, but hey. Going on? No, it's just a very colorful train. I mean, I've got a whole team, dude. Come on. Don't you worry, I got them before I came in, you goofball. Swift is a kind of handy move to have early on. It's got acceptable damage. It skips accuracy checks, which is not bad whatsoever. So this game did something a little bit on the iffy side with TMs, in my opinion. One sec while I just move around here. So, in this game, not all of the TMs are infinite use anymore. You have the regular TMs that are, which are moves like Swift and usually stuff that's a little bit more situational. And then you have technical records, or TRs, which are single-use TMs. Usually that's the domain of a lot of the, where a lot of the stronger moves go. But eventually they would eliminate the multi-use TMs entirely for Scarlet Violet, because they added in a crafting system that I can't imagine any Pokemon fans were like clamoring for to begin with. So WTF the fuck with that, right? Just go back to the thing that you had working since Gen 5. It was good. It was fine. You don't need to do this. Let me teach my entire team Earthquake if I want to, with only one item. That was literally only yesterday. Come on. Ah, yes, camping gear. This is our sort of gimmick for more of the raising your Pokemon in the more pet-ish kind of way stuff. Comparable to similar things that you had going on with like Pokemon and Me, and I think in previous games. I don't remember doing this a whole lot. We'll be fine. Don't worry about it. Well, if you think you're going that fast, buddy, you can go on foot. So here is our introduction to the big gimmick of this game, which is the wild area. And our first time entering into one of them. A flock of Woodoo on the tracks. Wow, these sheep just block off everything all the time, huh? They're pretty good at that. You must have ran over a jackass. Wait, no, that's... Okay, so we're not going to mess with any of that crap for now. We're going to come out here. And now we gotta fight our way through the wild area. It's big. We got some weird red lines. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of Jackass, but there's definitely some pretty funny moments in that, and just like watching people do absolutely goofy things. What do you got for us other than the fact that this place is big? Boy, is it. It's pretty large. Well, that's rude. You be careful with that hop. Don't get anything stuck in there because your head seems to be so big. Nice, the Pokemon Box link. This will allow us to access our Pokemon boxes from most of the world. Not everywhere, but most places, which is quite helpful. Again, really making the value of those PCs in Pokemon Centers not seem very high. Ah, we're starting off with some snow in this area. With our first encounter being a Swinub. Swinub will actually be quite a good Pokemon for us to get here. Oh, right, and this generation is still Hail, which... Having just random encounter Hail, I don't like that. I don't like the sound of that. Oh, it's able to dodge. That's not great. Wow. Oh, this thing is... this thing is being mean to me. I'm getting bullied by Swinub. Ooh. And I don't really have good Pokemon to take it on with. Wow. All right. All right. Thank you, Homestar Runner. God, we really came at like the worst day here to start with, didn't we? Well, at least it didn't immediately freeze us again. I would have been quite sad about that. I'm gonna have to go heal after fighting this random Swinub. Four. 5. Yeah, because our frozen ally can't participate. I guess it's a good thing that I did not choose to Nuzlocke this. Also because, if we're being quite honest, I'm not 100% sure how I would be like distributing the delimiters for wild area stuff. For things like that, because it's a little bit funky. And maybe I just don't know exactly where all the areas are and don't know all their names offhand. God, how effective is that accuracy reduction? Sheesh. Apparently extremely is the answer to that. Because, whew. Alright, now throw a ball and hope. Because this might be a harder Pokemon to catch than the other stuff. Just by a base level of, yeah. Well, hooray, we got a Pokeball back. So I think Swinub is ground type, which would make Nuzzle useless. Yeah, it's ice ground, so you can't even like paralyze it. Smidge late at the terminus. Hello. It's all right. I was kind of late starting, so these things happen. God, the shakes on the Pokeballs in this are so slow compared to what I'm used to in Gen 9. It genuinely makes me very nervous. Well, I keep calling every single hog that I ever encountered Gene Hoglin, so... hey, Stick, are you, like, out of position here? So this one... This one is actually going to get nicknamed Gene Hoglin. As opposed to me just saying it every time I see some sort of porcine and assuming that it's funny. Howie Swindell. Well, there's certainly not enough space for that, unfortunately. Oh, good old 12 things. 12 things. 12 character limit. So, yeah, I think that's going in there because C-Dot is not going to necessarily pan too far out as being like a great Pokemon or anything. Alright, so we got some Vanillish, or they're Vanillite at their first stage, right? One will be... I'm feeling like out of that, the Swinub might be the best get. Well, I might change my opinion at some point. The Ice Cream Cone is a very divisive Pokemon. I feel like the idea isn't bad. I don't know about the execution. I've seen concept art where it's bereft of its ice cream and it's just like a weird blue rock under there. And that kind of haunts me a little bit. So that will color in a not positive way a lot of my opinions about the creature. Yeah, the first stage is pretty decent. So what are we seeing here in the world of this Dynamax Pokemon? It is a fairy type. I don't have anything that's like good against a fairy type. I don't know if I'd be able to take this thing on, but I'll give it a shot. Let's see. I don't know what this thing actually is, judging by that graphic. But hey, may as well introduce these because we will definitely be seeing a couple of required in-game raids. Oh, it's a Swirlix. Am I allowed to Dynamax immediately? Alright. Let's go for it. I forget what half of the Dynamax moves do anyway. Yeah. Like its little ice hand arm things. Yep, it's... Swirlix is, yeah, I don't think Swirlix or Slurpuff are in Gen 9. Also, that Jolteon got fucking erased. Ooh, boy. Unfortunately, my ally Pokemon, their lives also count as, like, don't lose those. So I think this is probably untenable at this level anyway. To be fair, I'm kind of, like, really letting my reach exceed my grasp a little bit here. But it seemed like a fun thing to do. Also, this Dork's Wishy-Washy was started out at the regular stage as opposed to schooling, so I guess it's not even level 20, which, to be fair, I probably shouldn't be facing these at level 12. I don't get to see what level the ally Pokemon are. So, fair enough, I suppose. Ouch. Yeah, with the fairy terrain in place, that was not going to end well for me, so... Yeah, we're not even at a level where we can deal with a 1-star yet. Perhaps later. As everyone gets their defense up, which is definitely not going to do much. Well, maybe. It's a fair chunk of wow, the heal. That's kind of disgusting. Granted, it also targeted Snorlax with that and did that much damage, so I suppose that makes sense, air quotes. That'll just... I was gonna say, that'll just hit everybody, right? And it did not. Oh, wow. All right. We did not deserve to win that, really, but good job there, Snorlax, for doing that kind of damage, I guess. And remember that Dynamax raids, there's still chance going on there for you may not get the Pokemon at the end of it. But hey, we got some experience candy. That's the big thing I wanted, really. And a Dazzling Gleam TR. That's pretty nice. And yeah, we've got the goofiest dog that you've seen in like the entire franchise. Which is really saying something because, yeah. Thinking on a nickname for this. Kirby. It do kind of look like Kirby. If not, it certainly looks like it could fit in a Kirby game. Do you want to keep this in the party? Let's take a look. I'm gonna wait on that, actually. The Great Mighty Pooh. Not for that color scheme, but I appreciate what you're thinking. And I had just been mentioning Conker's Bad Fur Day earlier and was like, yeah, what do people still feel about Conker's Bad Fur Day? Or, I guess, feel about it now. Oh, hell yeah, this thing's level 20. That's that we definitely punched a little above our weight class of that raid. I have a feeling that that would be considered to be a little bit outside of what we can deal with very soon. Or at least until we get a badge. I think there's some sort of basically power level delimiter in this game in terms of how strong of a Pokemon you're allowed to use. Other than the usual trade Pokemon will disobey without certain numbers of badges. I think it's actually different for this game, which is why I bring it up. Because otherwise it's like, oh yeah, you fool, that's only for traded Pokemon. And under most circumstances, you would be correct. Yes, we also were saying that earlier too, that this game actually just looks better than Scarlet Violet. The graphics are a lot like... Well, they've smoothed the edges, which is a pretty big thing. Okay, yeah, this guy sells ingredients. Bob's food tin, I saw that. Well, maybe Bob wants it back. What is that thing walking through the grass? Oh, it's a Metapod. It's like, what the hell? That doesn't look right. But it's just a Metapod. I will deal with that Onix very shortly. I want to grab another level 2 or maybe even 3 before I fight Onix. Because I do actually want to go beat that Onix. But unfortunately, it is not quite as simple as all that, because despite the fact that it's Onix, it can just be like, get fucked, nerd, and hurt you pretty badly. Alright, let's drink up those watts. Because surely they will be of some value. Yeah, they allow that pretty readily. No filter for that. But when I tried to write something that said, when I was making fun of the Pokedex entry for Choodle saying something about its itchy teeth, it wasn't having that. It was like, oh, something's wrong with that. So yeah, it's level 28. Is it that high? I mean, we're level like 13 right now. That's respectable. But yeah, Corvid19 was a suggestion from someone else in the chat, to be fair. So, but still, great nickname. I'm glad that they didn't take that away from me, because yes. Okay, yeah, the Onix is level 26. Yeah, that's absolutely true, Tav. When it comes to the outfit customization, you could just be wearing whatever outside of the school campus. And then they put you back into the school uniform when you're actually over there. I also think that the gym uniforms, the sport uniforms, there's more variety for those in this game by a very good chunk than there is for the school uniforms in Scarlet Violet. Yeah, I have no idea what level this Diggersby is. Let's see if this is something we can take on, because this is a normal dirt type, so even though this thing will hit like a truck, okay, yeah, it's level 26. Well, this will be a good testing ground to see what kind of damage we can do to it. If we can actually land a hit, that might be a bit of a problem. Oh, we lived, so at least there's that. Unfortunately, we're really not doing a ton, so we might have to be a little bit, you know, cowardice, better part of valor when it comes to Onyx for a bit here. Oh, hey, my water bottle isn't making too much noise. That's good. Well, time to try to run with all of our Pokemon that will basically die in one hit each. Unfortunately, that may not be such a possibility, but we're trying. There we go. Yeah, sadly, I think that Onyx might have to wait, but it's not like it'll stop me from trying for long. Surely I could probably fight that thing after beating like one gym, right? It's just Onyx. It may be high level, but that doesn't do much to deal with the fact that Onyx, nevertheless, is not exactly the most resilient to water. Especially not special move water. The thing that I would be worried about with it at this particular juncture would be it being able to outspeed us, which would cause us some pretty severe issues. Sobble is not exactly the most resilient of creatures. I probably also should, like, actually move forward a little bit. I could spend so much time out here. Just, like, goofing off, slowly leveling up. Probably even capturing several of these Pokemon. It would turn into the exact problem that I face whenever I play this game, whenever I play the next game, actually, where I will just spend so much time doing shockingly little. Hey, there we go. There's free butts evolving. Learned Gust. Do you also learn Confusion at this level? No, you do not. That's a little unfortunate. Speaking of unfortunate, there's the unfortunate pre-evolution of Diggersby. I mean, Diggersby is a worse Pokemon, but still. Hey, Stuffle. That's a fairly good Pokemon, I think. Proceeds to get this weird stuffed animal Pokemon. Horribly damps that the resale value goes down. Wow, rude. Its little flailing limbs and then falling on its face. Animation for its physical attacks, pretty good. Let's learn Fury Attack. Do we even have... I mean, I guess we can get rid of Leer for it. Alright, we got a nickname for this Goofus. Fuel. Ah, come on, that's... Listen, I know it's a fighting type, but I don't think it has that particular move from John Cena's arsenal. And I think they had to change the name of that anyway, so... However, Build a Brawl is very funny, so... Here, no spaces or hyphens, and turn it to one word just to make it flow, but... That's pretty good. They changed it to the attitude adjustment. Oh, that's pretty lame. I was pretty sure that they changed it because, like, it wasn't that era of pro wrestling anymore. But that seems pretty underwhelming, but I guess where do you go from the STFU, right? You're changing that. That seems a little bit like... Yeah. They wanted the family-friendly version of things, so... Yep. Oh yeah, I probably should pick up this Goofus's item here, right? That's right. Oh. I'm doing it wrong. Whoops. Yeah, because I know WWE definitely went more into that era of, hey, we want things to be family-friendly. Which seems a little bit odd, but hey. Yeah, pretty much. That's definitely a little bit more accurate to the truth, to put it nicely, because... Yeah, this Oddish would get us some pretty good experience. Some pretty good experience for this fellow. So, put Gene Hoglan in the lead here. A little bit of powder snow here. Oh no, not my evasion that I didn't really have. Oh wow, that doesn't do much damage at all, actually. I guess it has 4 levels on me. Whew, these level ranges are big. Big and silly. Mega Drain already, huh? Whew. Do I have anything that can really, like, deal with this? The answer is yes, I do have things that can deal with this. We'll send in Corvid 19 and... God, somebody in the other room is coughing really loud, too. Like, it sounds like they've caught... Well, that's a pity. The Pokemon I specifically wanted to get some EXP there lost it all. Oh well. I could feed it some of my small amount of experience candies. Gosh, it's so wild being like all the way back at square one. Which, when it came to EXP candies, that feels like the level that I'm at all times in Scarvio, where there doesn't feel like you get any half the time. They only technically exist in that game, it feels like. Hey, random stranger, do you have anything going on? Well, sure. What we got? A big pearl! Yeah, a little bit of money. That doesn't hurt. Perhaps I should actually see about buying some items and, like, remembering to use them, which, items in a Pokemon game, I use them pretty frequently in Gen 9, though, just probably because I find so many of them lying around on the ground. What about this other guy? Ah, yeah, this guy's a watt shop here. 20 watts for a heal ball. And everything else is way more expensive. But we got some interesting stuff here. Not this, though. This sucks. A wishing piece. This will get us a free Dynamax fight if we want one. Free, air quotes. Low kick. Low kick is a move that is fairly situational depending on the target for the amount of damage you get out of it. But it usually is pretty good. Iron Tail has a 75% accuracy, which means that it's shit. This thing will let you down whenever you feel like you need it. Calm Mind. This was set as a TR instead of a TM, probably because Calm Mind is usually a cornerstone of a lot of special attack Pokemon builds. Iron Head. Iron Head is a fantastic move. This is probably the best thing here. And Hydro Pump is very strong, but 80% accuracy, I don't really want to rely on this ever if I can avoid it. Still, we can't really do anything with that right now. I'm gonna go into the big city here and heal. And then possibly come out and go fight some more guys. Go get some more experience, level up some of our Pokemon that we really want to use the most here. That Onyx looked almost shiny, judging by its colors, but it was just a shadowing. Shiny Onyx is a lot darker than that, I think. And it's not as severe of a case with lighting screwing that up in this game as in Scarlet Violet. Probably because you don't really see... I don't remember if you can see, like, the wandering Pokemon ever be shiny in the overworld. Oh yeah, we can mess around with our trainer card some. I see. Ah, yes. Take a look at this goofball in the cape. Only caught one overworld shiny and shield. That sounds about right. It is much easier to shiny hunt in the newer games by like a wide margin. I have a metric crapload of just random shinies from Scarlet Violet, which I think is fine. I'm glad that they're easier to get. Personally, I think maybe if they want to add another layer of like, hey, here's stupid rare, have secondary shiny palettes, maybe? Because a lot of the shinies are kind of crap, actually. Oh yeah, there's that. I forgot about that. But like, I think it would be neat to have some of them that have like other palettes that aren't, well, basically identical the way Poliwag is. Which Poliwag is fine. Poliwag is already like a great Pokemon. I love Poliwag. I miss that era where Poliwhirl was being pushed as one of the major like franchise avatar Pokemon. Oh god, yeah, Meowth. Meowth is like almost exactly the same. But I mean, they could have like secondary shiny palettes, maybe ones that are even a little bit more advanced or something, so you could have like more of a like an orange and white spotted, or you know, some more interesting variants for Meowth. Or you could have steel types that are like rust pocked. I think that would be kind of cool. We got Panchams, we got Stuffles in this patch. We've also got an Oddish, apparently. Wow. Wow, who could imagine? Oddish. There's so many of them. But we do seriously want to get some levels for Gene Hoglan, because the first gym in this region is a grass-type gym. And I chose the water starter, like I always do. How much damage does Water Pulse do? Because we're more special offense oriented. It didn't seem huge. But I think it's working out. Plus, it does have a chance of confusion. So that could be useful. Like, obviously the play here is go to the bug or the bird. Yeah, like, you could do something that's like patterns and just generally something a little bit more advanced with some of them than just straight color swaps. And just in general, again, a large part of it is inspired by the fact that a lot of the shiny palettes are infamously trash. Like, I think that... Holy shit! That was awful! I switched into almost dying to a random crit. Awesome! I love it when that happens. Probably the most infamous bad shiny palette in the entire series, I think, is Garchomp. Probably because Garchomp is one that gets used, like, all the time. Well, I don't remember Tauros being very good. You are correct, but Garchomp has sort of become, like, ever since its release, like, the most used Pokemon in a lot of the, like, you know, actual sweaty nerd areas. Plus, people do love using it in-game, too. It's not like it's just like, hey, this is something that works only in competitive. Because people do love their dragons, and hey, Shark Dragon, that's... that will get the 12-year-olds going. So, Garchomp is particularly infamous because its shiny palette is barely different. Which is weird because even its pre-evolutions... Oh my god, that poster has a Choodle on it. Even Garchomp's pre-evolutions had some pretty good color separation between them. It's like the opposite, really, of what happens with the original Poliwag line with its shinies. Because regular Poliwag is, like, almost the exact same. Poliwhirl is a noticeably paler blue. And Poliwrath is green. It's green. It's a completely different color. Meanwhile, Gible and Gabite are like a different blue, if I recall correctly, and Garchomp is like 2 hue degrees off. It's kind of funny and a little bit sad at the same time. But yeah, no, I think Tauros was pretty garbage in terms of color palette, too. Was Tauros another one of those ones where it's like they just kind of made it like a weird choice of greens? Like, in the back of my head, I'm kind of going, yeah, Tauros had a very similar color palette to Shiny Chansey. And I know that I showed you Shiny Chansey. So you know what that looks like. I.e., like crap. So I think this person is a trainer who has all 3 starters in Pokedex order, which is why we're taking out a flying type first here. Let's see what this, if this is correct. Is it as bad as Pikachu's shiny colors? I don't remember offhand. I think Pikachu's shiny colors are ones that, like, got worse in later generations because they made the color gap a little bit different. And by a little bit different, I mean they made it narrower, specifically. Oh, the Paldean Tauros? Right, yeah, I think I saw that a couple days ago and was like, that's awful. About to send in Scorbunny, which means that we should be able to get a win here. Yeah. I was thinking about regular Tauros when I was talking about, oh, isn't it like this horrible green? Because there were a lot of shinies in that era that tended to be kind of like an awful green, especially if the original Pokemon was yellow. Like, there was definitely a pattern to a lot of very early shiny Pokemon. I think... like, Onix, I think, is also a little bit orange side. Oh no, it's more like a green gold. Okay, yeah, it's definitely not the thing that looks like a ball of cheese like Geodude is. I don't have a great thing to fight this with. Because, yeah, Yeetloof's only electric attack is Nuzzle, which is pretty underwhelming. But it will guarantee a paralysis, at least. No, I'm just going to fight this way, and if we faint, it happens. I think opening with Bind would probably have been a little bit smarter. To get our dot going there. Like, another big thing that I remember with a lot of the shinies is that, like, I think a lot of the early red Pokemon tended to be blue in their shiny for some reason. Or maybe it was the other way around. Either way, like, in my brain, I'm just like, there were several very common patterns to how they changed the colors for a lot of shiny Pokemon. For, like, the first 3 generations. Is there a joke to the nickname of my Sobble? It's named Roger Moore because I said that it kind of reminded me, Inteleon kind of reminds me of James Bond a little bit. So I chose Roger Moore because I was just like, okay, yeah, choose one of the James Bond actors, other than Sean Connery, because, like, I don't think Sobble or Inteleon really has quite Sean Connery energy, right? And also, part of it is also because one of my friends started watching the Roger Moore James Bonds recently, so that ended up being the second one that I thought of, really. Because it was fresh in my mind. Hooray! We got a little bit of experience for that. It was a decent amount, really. But now we front row you. How many potions do I have? Probably not many, because obviously I haven't spent a ton of money, but I got a couple. That's at least enough to keep me from just going straight back to town. So that way I'm not just doing that literally constantly here. I worry that might get tiring after a while. Not that it stops me most of the time, but also, yeah. Oh, what's the deal with these graphics? Is this is the Emerald port to second gen, right? I forget what it's called, but you know what I'm referring to because you are throwing a screenshot from it up there. Sea Glass, yeah, there you go. That's some pretty good sprite work. I gotta give credit to that right off the hop that actually looks real good. Well, they're also throwing you an ability like that in here. An ability that cuts special... That's not what that... Is that just Frostmoth's ability? That doesn't seem right. But I realize I haven't looked at that thing in eons. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, that'll be why I don't see it very much, because it is just Frostmoth's ability. Well, derp. I thought that was completely new, but no, it's just that it's only on Frostmoth, which is, I mean, I like that it's an ice bug, and I like that it's a moth, but also that seems like the sort of thing that is not that playable most of the time. Plus, don't you not get access to it in this game until like super duper late anyway? So, fair reason for me to never see the damn thing. A lot of Pokemon have been reworked. I am not completely surprised by that. I probably would end up doing something like that if I were to ever actually get off my butt and make a proper Pokemon game, for example, or like ROM hack or anything like that. Octillery is water fire. That's nice. Now, have they given it something to help with the fact that it is so incredibly glassy? I would love Octillery if I could get a hit in edgewise with it. And it has a crazy good move pool. Dodrio is ground flying. Huh, that I think would make it a hell of a lot better just by itself, because yeah, ground flying as a type goes pretty hard. I mean, Dodrio is also just kind of made of paper and would die to any ice shard that it gets hit by as a result of that. But you give it that kind of damage. I don't know if it would have Earthquake, though, because Dodrio, I don't think, gets Earthquake, so yeah. Oh, Mega Launcher is a good ability, but it does also have the minor issue of the fact that it very likely might not get a chance to actually land a hit with that, but at bare minimum, if you can't get it out of the field, you get the fuck out of the way, boy. That's pretty cool, though. Yeah, a lot of neat reworks on a lot of those, it sounds like. Big one that I was thinking about, out of all of the many random weird little bits that I remember from ideas that I had been scrolling down for various Pokemon hacks and or fan games and stuff like that, would have been giving Beedrill Merciless. I think that was also done in another hack, though. Like, I think Inclement Emerald did that, possibly. But hey, we got our starter to evolve. Very good. It's always a nice day when that happens. Although we are aching a little bit, we probably don't want to get into any more fights with any grass types. But we could definitely use a little more EXPs. Why I just said EXPs, I don't exactly know. That's a terrible way to phrase it, but sometimes that is simply how I seem to end up doing. Okay, so at least Octillery has like a chance to abuse its Mega Launcher ability, right? Because, yeah, great move pool, as I've said before. Pretty solid offensive stats, but oh boy, I always wanted to try to put Octillery to use, and it was so hard sometimes. Steel Dragon, that's better than Steel Rock, I'll say that, because Steel Rock feels like the typings overlap, kind of. Because Rock shares most of Steel's weaknesses. And shares most of its resists. Aside from Fire, which... Okay, wow, Fire does normal damage. You died a Karate Chop. You died to the first hit of Arm Thrust. Okay, not literally, because Aggron is still pretty stacked, but... You have a bit of a time with those, that's for sure. And Earthquake, hoo boy! Which, that one's a little bit problematic because fucking everything has Earthquake, dude. Anyway, I want to take a look at what these guys have got for sale. I am not going to be spending time looking for like the most fashionable Pokeballs for my Pokemon in this run through, as I was doing in Scarlet Violet. This is just a play through the game on stream sort of thing. Okay, I'll have this at least as a thing to take a look at later on. I think I saw a fairy type at like the very beginning. Yeah, okay, because they added it for the Ralts family. That makes sense. Also, intelligently, they did give us access to all of the status healers this early on. Listen, we already know that Ice Heal is going to be useful. We got frozen in our battle against that Swinub. Oh, they jacked up the price of Revive for this game compared to previous games. I did not remember that. Cool. I don't know what anything costs in the Scarlet Violet shops, except for Pokeballs. And even those, I'd have to, like, struggle a little bit off the top of my head. Higher level means more HP when Dynamax. Gotcha. I forgot about that. And Dazzling Gleam can't be learned by anything in our party right now. That's a pity. Probably Swirlix can learn it, but I might have to wait for that a bit. And even then, that's a little bit of like, okay, what's the rest of our team going to shake out to be? Oh, I see. It's a hack of Emerald. But it's visually set up like GS. Yeah, because there wouldn't be enough space in a regular Game Boy cartridge, right? Or Game Boy Color cartridge, pardon me. Neat, though. That's pretty cool. I'll take a closer look at it later, I suppose. You know what? Let's just feed some of these EXP candies to Gene Hoglin and see what kind of results we get out of that. It's 100 each, so yeah, just use all 5 of them there. It'll be fine. We'll get more eventually, I'm sure. And the experience candy S. Yeah, that one's worth 800. That's more like it. We should probably move on with the plot. At least a little bit. Okay, yeah, that Onix is looking very normal now. Not compared to that opening cutscene where it looked slightly different. But not completely. Who's making that noise behind us? Oh, there he is. Yeah, Leon has no sense of direction whatsoever. I mean, there is some plot. It's just that in this game, this one's a little bit spare. I'll say that. Like, it's a little bit on the minimal side. It's certainly not the Black-White era. It's not the Gen 7. Gen 6 also had quite a lot of plot too, but I was a little more mixed on that one. Oh, do my glasses look goofy? Well, that's all right. To be fair, that's kind of what I'm going for. God, that's a fast elevator. That feels like it would not feel great to use because that's a pretty big gap that you're going that fast. I mean, better than it being realistic speed, I suppose, but ooh. That, I think, would make me puke. The colors of my hat do kind of make it look like a novelty, like, golf-themed Tam O'Shanter. Speaking of goofy fashion. Because it does already kind of have a little bit of Tam O'Shanter vibe to it. Not entirely, but a little bit. So all I can look at it is being like, that's tremendously silly. I'm sure I can find more of like a straw hat or something. Oh, and here's this. This incredibly smug individual. I mean, well, now that you say that, I'm kind of curious, like, if we'll get a Pokemon region with more water than Hoenn. Could we have one that's just, like, very little land and, like, flotillas of ships? And we do, like, pirate stuff? And we get our own little boat to, like, drive out to sea with? Hop and sky. Oh, yeah, there you go. All right, so we need a uniform number, and we get 3 digits for it. I think when I played this the first time, I actually did have mine as 666, which is like super obvious. If I offhand knew like a lot of Goro Awase, actually I can probably like look some sort of reference for that up. For like some pretty good ones to use for it. Let's look at a couple of these real quick and then probably go, oh yeah, I don't know any puns. Yes, helpfully Wikipedia is here to show me a 3-digit number that can be used to mean Yakuza. Oh, 102. Yeah, everyone chooses 666 or 420. That is a little bit obvious. 911. I mean, it would be very easy to make some sort of 69 gag here, but I imagine you say that as slowly and whitely as possible. I mean, I also could do something like 187, which it would also be like a super white choice for me. 187 is... I forget if 187 is accurately the penal code somewhere in California for murder, but yes, 187. There's one Snoop Dogg song. He goes something like 187 on an undercover cop or something like that. 187 also entered Magic slang for that same reason. There was a specific creature also that was referred to that, and people were like, oh yeah, it was the card number for the card. It was not, because there weren't even that many cards in the set for that particular creature that was. But I mean, 404 also, or just be 2. Hold up. I'm going to leave this one entirely to chance because I don't have a great idea off the top of my head, so 1 sec. .007 to match the starter. That's actually really good. I think I'm actually tempted to just do that, but I did go into my closet and I grabbed a couple of D10s. So, unfortunately, you did give me a very good suggestion at the end there. But also I will say this. I'm putting my headphones on. Give me a sec. That the gag about 2, like, I saw that while I was walking away. All I could think was of this one bit in Futurama where Bender is having a nightmare. And he wakes up and he goes, ugh, I had a terrible dream. 1s and 0s everywhere. And I think I saw a 2. And then Fry goes to him, don't worry, Bender, there's no such thing as 2. Which is like a wide variety of jokes all in one. Oh my god, I love so many bits in Futurama. Anyway, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying complete attention. Hey, there's more important things going on right now. Okay, yeah, I'll go that way in a second. But first, Ball Guy! I didn't want to talk to the small child. You took the time to talk to a Pokeball. Thank you, Ball Guy. Ah, yes. What an unusual world that we exist in. The old Pokeball mascot, Ball Guy. I am super glad for the existence of Ball Guy, though. Just 10 out of 10, no notes. You can actually get a Ball Guy themed bike helmet in Scarlet Violet, for those of you who are not aware. You have to beat both of the DLCs for that, but still, I'm glad that at bare minimum, regardless of the actual quality of Scavio, they did kind of know what the actual things that mattered were. They had good ideas. The execution just tended to leave something to be desired. Ah, yes, by gigantic Pokemon. Could it possibly have something to do with our Dynamax thing that we haven't used whatsoever? Yeah, all they did was lead us over here. So who's the dorks here? Hey, we can get into a fight. That sounds like fun. And yeah, here's our villain team, as it were, for this game. Team Yell, a bunch of football hooligans. It kind of fits with the sports theme they have going on. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll spoil some backstory for Team Yell here. That the whole idea that they're here specifically because they basically want to promote the town of Spikemuth, which is not having the greatest go of things, and they do not have like a Dynamax power spot, which is a thing that all these other major cities have. So basically, they're kind of underfunded because they're not valuable enough to the sports economy, is sort of what's going on. And Team Yell is sort of trying to raise awareness, although at the same time, through like serious belligerence, they kind of overdo it a little bit, as you'd expect out of, you know, any proper sports hooligan. They way overdo it. You ever seen the Wisconsin Cheesehead, guys? I mean, yeah, a little bit. That's certainly the case. I feel like there's also kind of an important point that is worth exploring when it comes to Team Yell and the issues that are facing their hometown. That's like a real theme that they could have chosen to delve into if anyone who wrote Pokemon stories was actually any good at that. Unfortunately, basically the only time when they're able to actually do that, and I mean it's good that they can when this comes up, is when there are things to do with child abuse. Unless it's Carmine and her younger brother, but I digress. We're not playing that game on stream for many good reasons, and the story is like really at the bottom of the list there. See, I'm not sure also how I feel about this juxtaposition, because these guys do kind of want to have a little bit of a punk rock vibe to them too, right? So they've got the Galarian Zigzagoon. That makes sense, because Galar Zigzagoon is based very heavily in its aesthetics and everything off of the members of the band Kiss. Meanwhile, their other one is Nickit and Thievul, which, like, I guess it fits in with the dark type thing, which... Why do they need a specific type at all? They could just go with being, they could use Toxel. There we go. Toxel and Toxtricity, which, again, fits in with their whole rock style thing. And, in particular, even has an ability called Punk Rock. I forget what other Pokemon these dudes use, but I guess we'll find out as we go. Granted, maybe I don't really think there's a lot of options that necessarily work very much for, like, a sort of rock music style thing. Yeah, obviously, there's, like, Pokemon that are music related, but Exploud has, like, you know, big pipes coming off its back like a pipe organ. Not exactly the most rock and roll of instruments, unless you only listen to Yes. Which, I mean, that's perfectly fine if you do. That's a completely fair musical musical diet to take is just the old prog rock kind of stuff. But also, again, yeah. Only so much you can do there. Or you're Dracula. You got a point there. That works as well. All right, so let's get all our stuff all finished up here. Well, we're already at the front desk, Hop. I just was pointed a little off to the side there. Whoops. You don't gotta worry about it, desk guy. We get into battles all the time, and also you're basically you're a service worker. You don't have to apologize for shit. That's much more of like a baseball pitch, Hop. Hey, are you sure that's the best first gym for us to... Well... sure. Oh, that was a very fast cut. I think I was expecting more walking animations. Alright, show us what you've got, champ. No, they're not previewing the uniform. We just go and change into it immediately. Fair enough. See, clearly I should have thought this through a little bit more, and I could have had a character name that fit a little bit more with the multiple James Bond references we've had already as well. And there's Chairman Rogue. I said Rogue. Holy shit! My fumbling over. I'm sorry. I was sideswept by that, Tav. Wow. Anyway, yeah, I forgot Rose was like specifically the chairman of the league too. I thought it was just that he was like the head of Macrocosmos or whatever, and they were the biggest sponsors of it, or they owned it or something, or whatever. Anyway, let's get to see some goobers. Some folks that we're going to be fighting over the next couple of weeks. Turn up the game audio more? Sure. One sec. Milo looks like an absolute... looks incredibly silly. Hey, old man. Hey, she looks like another gym leader that we fought earlier in the series. And there's Opal with the slightly exaggerated facial features. Gordy. That's just some random Canadian. And there's Raihan. Still carrying his phone out right here. That's... what a silly man. We're missing one gym leader. Yeah, Piers just got a little bit lost. Somebody heard that his name was Piers, and they thought he was Piers Morgan. So they decided to absolutely just thrash him. Which, quite frankly, is a little bit mean, but like... yeah, I get to come out here with my horrible corrective eyewear. Hey, dude. You got slightly funny facial hair. Oh, that guy. He's always busy and stuff. Ugh. We're gonna be hoofing it everywhere, I see. Turf field. That is the location of our first. Oh, that looks like quite the lengthsome walk, actually. I think the map screen is just making it look bigger than it actually is. Access to flying taxis. Ooh, yes, there we go. There's our fast travel. Yes. I think that's a pretty good one, actually. That would be a pretty good story. I own 2 legs. Well, personally, I prefer to have a bike, but own 2 legs would at least be a start. There's a Pokemon Center on the other side of town, isn't there, near the exit? Because, yeah, I remember this place has multiple Pokemon Centers. Much like Hammerlock, the other big city. Oh god, yeah, I absolutely do. As I was saying earlier, if the elevator was that speed in real life, it would make me hurl, but it's fine in a video game. Anyway, as we're winding down here, I guess I will say about town names. Actually, let's go find out what's up with that Pokemon at Wedgehurst Station that's being mentioned. So, a thing that I want to point out is that, like, our starting town over here is called Postwick, which is actually, like, just a dead ringer in terms of spelling for a real English town called Poswick, which is pronounced weird because England is full of some odd ways to pronounce words at times, and names as well. So that's just an interesting thing to know, I guess. Also, yes, the big city here is called Hammerlock, and that immediately makes me think of the goofy hunter guy from one of the Borderlands games. One of the ones that I didn't finish, but oh, I'm sorry. I came here to see an interesting Pokemon. Am I in the wrong location? The answer is probably yes. But yeah, I guess technically we can... Well, yes, if I want to get started on the DLC. Oh, is it the same thing? Do I have to talk to the freak? Do I have to? You can just tell me. I don't want to accidentally start the DLC too soon is the thing. Oh. We'll get plenty of those. That's not that weird. So, to be perfectly honest with you, screw that. I'm gonna resave. Like, yeah, I just don't want to talk to this freak. I mean, she's attractive, but she's also horrible. Oh, I may have actually said some of that on mic. Oops.